podcast, the Morgan you know.
Love the show, and you should check out my buddy Rod Morgan's pod, The Morgan You Know, as I'm confident he's primed to make some waves on the scene.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, literally right now, to those of you joining us on YouTube and Facebook Live. Hello to all of you listening to us later or watching us later on your preferred podcast platform. This is the Morgan You Know podcast. We talk about sports. We talk a little bit about movies and TVs and music from time to time. But this week we are here to talk about the upcoming Super Bowl, the upcoming Royal Rumble, and the trade deadline in the NBA is just around the corner. To do all three of those things with me, I'm joined by my co-host, the executive producer of this podcast, the brains of the operation, the social media director, the responsible one around here, Jimmy Jamriska. Have I forgotten anything else?
A person who loves football now. He can love football every week because the Bears aren't going to lose anymore this year.
There we go. Jimmy loves football. Joining us is our resident old man. We are happy to have him in from the cold. He has been shoveling snow like so many maintenance men out there in America and so many snow plowers. Chris, we feel for you, and I know you feel for all those out there doing the same thing you were.
Yeah, let's just remember to give a shout out to all the workers out there that have been putting in the long hours, the late nights, the cold weather, trying to keep the sidewalks, roads, parking lots all clear for us.
And shout out to heating and AC guys, because they factored in pretty huge for our football handicapper Josh Williams here recently. We were this close. If you're watching right now, you can see me putting just a couple of fingers together to having Josh Williams ending up like Jack Nicholson at the end of The Shining. But they came through and fixed his furnace, and he is back to handicap football games for us. Josh Williams, hello.
What's up, boys? I went 3-1 on the 4-leg parlay, or if you wanted to bet them separately, bets that I gave out to Jimmy last week since I wasn't on. Hit on Denver +4, hit on Kayshon Boutte under 2.5 receptions, hit on RJ Harvey under 38.5 rushing yards, lost on RJ Harvey's rushing attempts. I had to get it under 11.5. He had 13. So that's how we lost that parlay there.
We are back and we are rolling. Williams is blowing right by the setups that I give him and sticking to his script. That is what we do here on the Morgan You Know Podcasting Network. If you are just joining us, thank you so very much for that. We like to start off with a cold open question. And Jimmy, I'm going to start off with the wrestling cold open question for the group, if you don't mind. All right. Let's say you were entered in the Royal Rumble. You were going to be one of 30 contestants. What number do you want to come into the Royal Rumble at? Chris, I'll start with you.
I want number 30. All right. Give me the easiest path. Give me number 30. I can go in there. I'm fresh. Everyone else has been out there for a while. Chances are I only have maybe 4 or 5 guys to get through. Yeah, give me number 30. Give me that last spot.
See, but so you at this point, let me ask you a follow-up here. You have delusions that you can somehow win the Royal Rumble, and that's why you want to go in at 30 then. Is that what I'm to understand?
If I'm in the Royal Rumble, why else would I not be there to win, Rod? All right? We play to win the game. I say this all the time. All right? I'm going out there to win. I'm an old man. I can't come in at number 1 and expect to last the whole round. Give me a number 30.
All right, Williams, you are the non-wrestling guy here. I'm interested to hear your take on this. Royal Rumble 1 through 30. A guy comes in every, what is it, Jimmy? Is it 90 seconds now, 60 seconds?
Anywhere between 60 seconds and 2 minutes, yes.
Yeah, this is the WWE. No rules are ever 100% set in stone.
Yes.
Williams, do you want to be 1? Do you want to be 2? Or do you want to be up to 30? What do you think?
So I feel like they want you to say 30 here. I'm thinking about this as like a Vegas odds maker. So I'm going to go like 27. Okay. So not last. Did I just take Jimmy's spot? Is that like the most prestigious spot or what? I'm going 27. I only got to beat like 3 guys. The 30 is like too easy. Like they're not. I feel like they're never going to give it to the guy who comes in dead last to the ring.
You're absolutely correct about that, actually. 30 hasn't won the Royal Rumble that many times. It certainly has happened, but it hasn't won as many times as you think it has. Jimmy, I feel like 27 actually is a pretty good number. What were you going to say as a wrestling expert here on this podcast?
Okay, so for about a decade and a half, number 27 had the most winners in Royal Rumble history, which is 4, by the way, so calm down. It was just overtaken by number 30, which has 5 now. The past couple of years, we've had those old timers come back in, and win some here and there.
Recency bias.
So I am going to be Shawn Michaels. I'm going to be Edge. I'm going to be Rhea Ripley. I'm not going to be he who shall not be named because he did a lot of bad stuff to his family, but I will be the number 1 entrant in the Royal Rumble and go from 1 to 30 and beat everyone and win the Royal Rumble match.
This is absolutely fabulous. I love the confidence out of all 3 of you, giving yourself the ability to possibly win the Royal Rumble. I have no delusions of grandeur. I know that my strength in this world is the gift of gab. It is my ability to be jovial. It is my ability to come up with references. It is my ability to know a little bit about everything, but not a lot about any one thing, right? That's what my strength is. My strength is not wrestling. So what I want to do is I want to come in at number 18, Jimmy. Okay. I want to come in at number 18 because I want chaos in the ring, right? I want like 12 people in the ring. I want somebody already laying down over in the corner, right? Getting their requisite 5-minute break where we don't have any spots where they're supposed to be involved, right? I want chaos going on in the ring, and I'm just going to hang outside. I don't have to rush into the ring. I can't beat anybody anyway. Why am I in a hurry to get into the ring with people that can take me out? So I'm going to take my time at 18, see how things are going, hopefully sneak in there, make a grand, exit that people remember. That's all I need. All right. I'm going to come out. I'm going to sneak around the outside. And the reason I sneak around the outside is because people have to pay attention to me doing that. Right. No, he's coming back in. Nope. Right. It's kind of like when you go up to a hot tub and it's too hot for you. Right. Like Eddie Murphy, too hot. No, jumping in the water. I'm going to look to get in the ring, but then we'll be like, whoa. I can't get in the ring right now. Otis is over here. What am I going to do with Otis standing right here by the rope? I'm not going to be able to get by Otis. So Jimmy, I'm going to try to get as much screen time as I can by hanging outside the ring and going in and getting exited in a fabulous style.
Chris, shocking. Rod wants more screen time.
Right. I also laughed a little bit to myself when he said he's jovial, but we have a Rod Damnation skit that we do, right? So the jovial guy who's always
he
angry.
wants to get out of his comfort zone, Chris.
Listen, we can all grow, right? Are you supposed to have New Year's resolutions? It's a new year, Chris. It's 2026. We can all grow, all right? But we are not going to grow away from what we are best at here on this podcast, and that is talking about football games with our handicapper. Mr. Williams, your biggest thoughts from championship weekend. You got more thoughts on the NFC game or the AFC game?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking about the AFC playoffs as a whole. And if you take it back to week 18, the finale of the regular season, we had the Steelers and the Ravens. I think all of us throughout the whole year pretty much thought the Ravens were better than the Steelers. What happens that game? The Steelers beat the Ravens. You fast forward to the wild card round, Buffalo versus Jacksonville. I thought Jacksonville was the better team there. Buffalo wins. You go to the division round, Buffalo versus Denver. I thought Buffalo was the better team there. Denver wins. You go to the AFC Championship game, Denver versus New England. I thought Denver was the better team there. New England wins. So this is why you have a little sense of just you wish that there was a different team representing the AFC, because I feel like just this is not the right team representing the AFC playoffs here, the Super Bowl here.
Yeah, like I'm not as anti-New England as I used to be, but Chris, I got to admit, I'm coming back a little closer to your side of the fence now that they're already back in the Super Bowl, right? We got Drake May in his second year, Mike Vrabel in his first year. We're already back in the Super Bowl, right? Like everybody's slurping New England already. It's like, come on, they weren't out in the wilderness long enough. So I'm starting to come back to you, Chris.
Yeah, it's like watching Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns again, right? That we've seen this. We've seen this before. All right. I don't want to see the Patriots back there. I tell you what, the Seattle team can take whatever punch New England decides to throw at it and respond in kind. The Seattle team is no joke.
There we go. So Chris comes out thinking of Seattle. Jimmy, your thoughts from Conference Championship weekend? You thinking more about the AFC like Williams, or are you like Seattle's going to win this thing?
I've just waited for my apology, gentlemen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now remember when we had our Festivus and we had to air our grievances and I was mocked. I was, you did a Williams on me, Rod. You just went on with your little script. You didn't even care about what I said. When I was angry that these coaches aren't kicking field goals in the first quarter to go up and get points. Sean Payton was up. You watch yourself. I want my time, fuckers. I will pause you. Sean Payton was up 7-0. And apparently everyone in the world in that stadium knew a torrential snowstorm was coming. So with his backup quarterback who threw good pass all game long, he decides to go for it instead of kick a field goal. Did that come back to haunt him at all? Yeah, it did. Because guess what? When it's snowy and windy, your field goal kicker stinks. And they didn't score again. So yes, Rod, coaches should just kick and get points early in the game because you're going to want those later. Thank you for my apology that you have not said, but I have said on your behalf.
Listen, you were absolutely right. I definitely no-sold you on that episode. I go back and I listen from time to time and
no-sold the hell out of me.
Yeah, because I didn't hear anything that you said. I was looking at something. I was thinking of my last transition. I literally heard nothing that you said of that one. I know, terrible by me.
It's what our audience says too. Appreciate it.
Yes, you're right. They do say I need to be removed. I was shit posted about for the first time ever, making me an official podcast host now. But I didn't hear your point, Jimmy. So if I would have been paying attention like a good host during that episode, I wouldn't have had to apologize to you now because I would have agreed with you about that take. You absolutely need to score points. And in a game like that, points are at a premium. And when you got Stiddy, when Stiddy's in there,
Stiddy wasn't ready.
Yeah, Stiddy wasn't ready. So I thought that was a terrible call by Sean Payton, but I'm interested what the handicapper thought about it because I hear the analytics were actually a little different there.
No, I'm with Jimmy on this one. I think context matters. If you're going up against an extremely good defense, I think you kick the field goal, especially when you have a rookie or basically a backup quarterback.
A fifth-year rookie? Yes, Williams.
And if
you're right.
I mean, he hasn't thrown a pass in 2 years.
No. You're right. I'm agreeing with you. He's a fifth-year rookie. No, I'm agreeing with you.
Jimmy is hot tonight. Jimmy is hot.
Oh, I'm hot.
Yeah. So, I mean, the one thing is, what I would say is different from the Bears game is that the Broncos their defense was rolling. I mean, you could tell their defense came out to play. 10 points, you go up 10 points at home. You let that defense roll. You have a chance to win that game. I know Sean Payton wanted to go up 14-0, but the Patriots were all over that fourth down play. Where I will disagree with Jimmy is I am for Ben Johnson going for it on fourth down against the Rams because you are going up against the number one offense in the league. And metrically speaking, other than the turnovers, you have a bottom six defense. So I think you have to score points. Now, I know Jimmy's going to come back and say they didn't need a whole bunch of points that game. I went going in. You needed like 35 points to win that game. So I am not going to be results-oriented. We are decision-oriented here, Jimmy. I think the right call for Ben Johnson was to go for it against the Rams. The right call for Sean Payton was to kick the field goal. So context matters in these situations.
Hey, Rod, it's almost like I shouldn't even be here because Williams knows all my opinions. I am hot. You guys are making me really hot today. Williams, I love this. It's almost like it's a different game. It's almost like context matters, doesn't it, Williams?
You were upset that the Bears.
He should have kicked the field goal. He should have kicked the field goal to get points because that's how the drive went. They needed to get something in that. But I'm not going to lose my shit over it. And that's 2 swear words for me. And I'm the one that has to deal with it. Just remember that, gentlemen.
I love it. I absolutely love it when Jimmy gets hot. And I love
Chris, watch yourself.
The context that CBS gave, because I'm not going to lie to anybody here. All right. My love for the NFL cools a little bit as my Colts are not involved. Right. And as the Bears are not involved. Right. I'm definitely checking in, making sure I know what happens, but we got the football handicapper here. He breaks the games down. That's not my mission as the Morgan host. So I didn't have to watch that whole game. I tuned in later as the snow was already there. So I thought that that's what it looked like the whole game. But luckily, I tuned in right for the time that CBS did kind of a time-lapse breakdown of what the game looked like in the first quarter and then the second quarter. I was amazed that at some point in the fourth quarter, there still wasn't any snow on the ground. And then all of a sudden, it was complete whiteout, nasty conditions. So somebody needs to make the argument that teams now need to add a meteorologist to their staff, right? Because that's what everybody does, right? They second guess and they just make up new rules and they just make up new positions that are supposed to be created when mistakes are made. So, Chris, I'm waiting for the first podcaster to come on and say we need weathermen on football staffs.
Oh no! You want to talk about throwing your money away? All right, as someone who has specifically had people pay extra money to get the VIP version of weather apps to get minute by minute, hour by hour, I can have 3 different weather apps telling me 3 different things of 3 different temperatures, all for the same zip code. A weatherman is the only person in the world that I know of that can be wrong 50% of the time and still be considered good at their job. If you're wanting to throw money away, hire a meteorologist. Otherwise, just stick your arm out the window. You have just as good of a chance there.
Is it baseball still? Like, can't you be bad at hitting 50% of the time and still be considered a great baseball player? Like, can't you be bad like 70% of the time and still be a great hitter in baseball? Isn't it like 85% of the time now with strikeouts? Isn't that how it works?
It's much easier to become a meteorologist or a weatherman than it is a baseball player.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to baseball anymore. So you got me all sidetracked, Chris. That was a great line about meteorologists, though. Shout out and sorry to any meteorologists that listen to this podcast. We hope that you still continue to stay with us. And Chris's views on meteorologists don't necessarily reflect the views of the entire rest of the podcast. I don't have too much more to say about the NFC or AFC championship game. The Super Bowl isn't played this weekend. It's played next weekend. We're going to come back next week. So I think we have a lot of time to still talk about the Super Bowl. But Williams, do you have any little early pre-nuggets you want to give out to the people? Anything that they should be looking at this week ahead of the game that they can't do next week?
Yeah, there's some notes here. Since 2004, underdogs are 15-7 against the spread. If you didn't know, Seattle's favored by about 4.5 or 5 opening line against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Underdogs have covered 5 straight, which is the longest streak in Super Bowl history. And underdogs have also won 3 in a row outright. So that's interesting. And since 2002, when the line is 3 or more, dogs are 13-4 against the spread. So all those stats right there would point you towards New England. But how about this? The last time 2 teams made the Super Bowl that both didn't make the playoffs the previous year was in 2003. Side note, I predicted that Super Bowl. That's the only Super Bowl I've ever predicted preseason, the Patriots versus the Carolina Panthers. Too bad there wasn't access to DraftKings back in 2003. Now, the last 2 seasons, you've had 10 quarterbacks under the age of 25 face Mike Macdonald. They are 1-9 with 7 touchdowns and 12 picks. Also 30 total sacks taken. We've seen Drake May have a little fumble issues when getting pressured here. So that's a point towards Seattle. So yeah. Also, when Seattle does give up 10.8% scramble rate to opposing quarterbacks, this is the highest rate in football. So expect Drake May to do a lot of damage on the ground in that Super Bowl. And how about this? The last one here. These stats for Stafford, the last 2 times he played the Seahawks, 370 plus passing yards, 3 touchdowns in each game, 0 picks in either game. How about Tom Brady lost twice in his career when he put up those stats in a single game? Matt Stafford lost twice to the Seahawks in the last 5 weeks when putting up those numbers. That tells you right there how much the D and the special teams let Matt Stafford down in that NFC Championship game.
Special teams. Shout out to my guy, the pit boss, Richie Pisaccia. You know I bring him up every time special teams comes up. I love the pit boss. And speaking of coaches, we should probably hit on the coaching carousel. Things have been decided a little bit more in the NFL. And Chris, I think I want to go to you first on this one. You're a former Yinzer. You've spoken many an ill word about Pittsburgh. You've spoken many an ill word about Mike McCarthy as the former coach of your Cowboys. What did you think when that one happened?
Oh, that's a match made in heaven for me. All right. I was telling my buddy who's an Eagles fan, I was like, you got to be happy. All right. That's at least 1 win a year against Mike McCarthy. And it is so antithesis to what Pittsburgh has done in the past. Like, you're not getting 19 years out of McCarthy. I don't care what you think is going to happen, but no. So good. I can guarantee you Pittsburgh will be right back to 8-9, 9-8, maybe a 10-7 again, and that's about as good as it's going to get.
Wait a
Jimmy
minute.
Jam.
Whoa.
Anyway. Go ahead, Jim.
Whoa. The Dallas Cowboys are the most in front of you on the TV team ever. You might even call them the most relevant team. You've been saying that, and their coach was Mike McCarthy. So you don't think he's going to be able to do anything like that in Pittsburgh?
What? Pittsburgh already has one of the biggest fan bases in the NFL. They're on TV all the time already. It's no different than what he was at Dallas because of Jerry. Dallas is going to be on the front because Pittsburgh's Pittsburgh. They will be up front and center all the time. Especially if Rodgers is back, you guarantee to get a lot more Pittsburgh.
Oh, Rodgers and McCarthy got along famously. I'm sure.
Yeah, that especially at the end, that was great. Rod, I do want to say one of the coaches I really like is I do like Robert Saleh, and he and his 38 kids, right?
Right.
I do love him because you could see that he kind of gained the love for football again on the sidelines of San Francisco, where he looked like he hated his life in New York. I was worried though because he is the defensive-minded guy, got a young quarterback. Who you going to bring in? Brian Daboll, who just with Jackson Dart did a really good job with him. I believe he coached somebody else in Buffalo as well for a couple years there. I love the Brian Daboll signing, especially if you get a couple of assistants underneath him. So when Daboll gets a head coaching position next year, you can just rise somebody up. I really like that. I hope Tennessee. I as a Colts fan, I don't want them to be good, but as for Tennessee fans, I'd be very happy if I were them.
Williams, let's go to you. The coaching carousel move that you got to have a take on.
I mean, I was like you, Rod. I cannot believe the Steelers hired Mike McCarthy. I know we kind of touched on it, but like what Chris said, like that's just is the total opposite of Pittsburgh. When you think of the Steelers, you think discipline first, and that's the exact opposite of Mike McCarthy. So many dumb penalties with Mike McCarthy, and then you pan over to him, and he's got the Peter Griffin menu above his head, and he's just staring at it, and he's like looking out in space. And he lied to Jerry Jones how he got the job in Dallas. What is Pittsburgh doing? I cannot believe they hired a 60-something buffoon as a head coach. This guy's terrible. And like you have to, if you're going with defense, just hire a defensive guy. If you're going offense, just wait for Clint Kubiak. You're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wait for Clint Kubiak or hire Brian Daboll before he goes to Tennessee. Or I don't know. There's so many other guys that they could have got. Mike LaFleur, offensive coordinator for the Rams, who might go to Arizona now. But I cannot believe the Steelers did this. I cannot believe it.
It's really boggles the mind. It really does. And it just kind of makes you think that like when owners get a little bit old, you know what I mean? Is it maybe time to take the keys from them? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you guys saw Robert Kraft in the AFC trophy presentation, but I was kind of like, I just felt like I was like, somebody get grandpa away from the microphone. You know what I mean? And like, I just wonder if the Rooneys are not quite as on top of it as they used to be because the Mike McCarthy thing just makes absolute zero sense. But I got to say, the hire of the carousel that I think I'm most excited about is the DJ. Mikey McD spinning some tracks out in Los Angeles with Justy Herbert and Jimmy Harbaugh. I saw somebody, Jimmy, say that they don't think Jim Harbaugh has spent $1,200 on his wardrobe for the last 35 years. And Mike McDaniel showed up to his interview in like a $12,000 jacket. Like, I just think that, how are those two guys going to work together, Jimmy?
Well, I love also that he kept saying that I'm going to go buy my Dockers, and it's like Jim Harbaugh don't buy Dockers. Those are like $65 a pair. He goes to Walmart and buys his.
Those are Costco.
Yeah, but no, I think listen, this is it. Justin Herbert, people, this is it. Got a good offensive coordinator in there. Got a good head coach. Defense is good. Now it's time. So all you people who think LA is going to be great every year and are always wrong.
It's the Chargers.
Time. It's the Chargers. They're going to charge.
Unfortunately for Herbert, and unfortunately for Harbaugh, and unfortunately for all these fans, you are the Chargers. You will continually find ways to disappoint every single year, and it's not your fault. I don't know whose fault it is, but it happens. It's just the way life is. It's just like death in Texas.
All right, Williams, let's move away from the Ouija board here from Jimmy and Chris, and let's go to your actual football analysis of Dayball. Why did Dayball want to go to Tennessee and Mikey McD in San Diego? What do you think? San Diego, look, I just did it. Dang it. The whole time I was telling myself, don't do San Diego, and I did it.
I think Dayball, wants to work with a young quarterback. He saw where Tennessee hired Saleh as the head coach, so he doesn't have to do anything on the defensive side. Saleh is a good defensive coordinator, and hopefully he can get that team turned around. Dayball will have I think he's going to have full access to the whole offensive playbook, and hopefully he can get Cam Ward going next year. I thought we saw signs from Cam Ward like late in the year where he was actually going to be decent. So interesting to see what Dayball can do there. And then when you guys are talking about Chargers, Mike McDaniel, sneaky fantasy guy for next year, in my opinion. Running back Omarion Hampton. Remember the Chargers played that playoff game without both offensive tackles, and they're really good offensive, Slater and Alt. You get those guys back healthy. Harbaugh likes to run the ball. They already have a pretty good defense, the Chargers. I could see, and Mike McDaniel has some really good running schemes. I could see Omarion Hampton jumping up to that upper tier running backs next year for the Chargers. And you want to try and target him in fantasy next year.
Jimmy Jam, look at this yarn that I'm going to spin for you, okay?
Okay.
Mikey McD, the DJ, goes out to L.A., rehabs himself for 1 year, making Justin Herbert look good. The Colts, absolute dumpster fire of a situation. Carly Ursay-Gordon put too much pressure on Ballard and Steichen. They're not going to be able to survive it. They're out. Colts are going to be looking for a new quarterback. People say this year's quarterback class isn't great. Next year's quarterback class, a little bit better. Can the Colts maybe convince Mikey McD to come and be the new coach and figure out a way to get one of those quarterbacks in the following draft? What do you think, Jimmy?
I think the quarterbacks on this year's draft in the later rounds are interesting because there were a lot of high prospects that just really didn't do it in college. So they might be able to get someone. But then, yes, next year there's a lot of good ones coming out as well. I think it's a really good year to need an offensive coach next year if you're going to fire somebody, because you have Mikey McD, you have Dayball. If you want to bring in some veteran coaches, you've got those too. Tomlin could be available like Chris really wants. Not really the offensive guy. McDermott's going to be back, I'm sure. So it's going to be a decent head coaching candidate pool next year. Why not? But let's not do that. We're going to think positive, Rod. The Colts are going to come back. Anthony Richardson's going to be able to see.
Let's go.
And he will take the Colts.
I don't know why you wouldn't want a defensive coach if you're a Colts fan. Look what our defense turned into at the end of the season. If our defense plays anywhere near like an average NFL defense, we win 2 or 3 more games.
Only we had a good cornerback.
No.
Love it. We got plenty of time to talk about all that, Chris. But I like that you jumped in there, Chris, because I was actually going to give you the last chance here before we moved on to basketball. All right? Because something happened in the NFL that lit the world on fire. I don't know if I have ever seen a Hall of Fame vote for the NFL create this much heat, let alone a coach in the NFL creating this much heat. But the sainted Bill Belichick was not allowed into the Hall of Fame. If you believe reports, it's because of Bill Polian, but who knows? Chris, other than Bill Polian, I thought of you when this happened because I knew you were happy like a pig in slop. So the floor is yours.
It's apparent that a lot of Hall of Fame voters listen to our podcast, Rod, and take our opinions seriously, because I've been saying this for a few years now on this very podcast. Bill Belichick isn't a great coach. You take one player off of his team and he has a losing record as a head coach with 0 Super Bowls.
I mean,
take one player off his team and he has a losing record as a head coach and 0 Super Bowls.
There was more than one player taken off his team. Also, that's saying a
that
lot,
one
Chris.
player.
You take one coach out of Tom Brady's. Tom Brady, he's never won any game except for one. He's won one Super Bowl. Tom Brady, take one coach away, he's won one Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he did that in his 40s, like he was 45. All right, so I mean, really,
Chris, let me ask you this, okay? You don't have a lot of respect for Bill Belichick as a head coach. That's fine. But will you admit to me that coaching is a lot of different things, right? So Bill Belichick, before he was a head coach that you have no respect for because of Tom Brady propping him up, he was a defensive coordinator for the New York Giants, and his game plan that won them the Otis Anderson Super Bowl is literally in the Hall of Fame, Chris. So I think that kind of speaks to the fact that the guy has a pretty good coach football mind.
he had a guy on that team, and they've even talked about this in interviews where Lawrence Taylor did not pay attention to any game plan, did not learn any kind of plays. He was a wild man out there and wreaking havoc on offenses. And yes, that was also, I mean, I get that game plan is in the Hall of Fame, right? I didn't know that until this past week anyway, so it's not like it's a well-known thing, I guess. But either way, as a head coach, without one player on his team, losing records, 0 Super Bowls.
Miss Jordan Hudson, I apologize. Belichick family that are still in contact with Bill, I apologize, because if reports are to believe that doesn't happen to go on this much anymore. But let's walk away from that nonsense and go to our football expert here for the last word on this. Williams, how nonsensical is it that Bill Belichick's not going into the Hall of Fame, at least not yet?
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Belichick's second all-time in wins, 12 Super Bowl appearances total, 17 division titles, 21 winning seasons. And Chris, he won in Cleveland. Nobody wins in Cleveland. He took Mac Jones to the playoffs. Mac Jones is terrible. He won 11 games.
Stefanski and Baker Mayfield did that.
He won 11 games with Matt Castle.
30 years apart. They left and came back, Chris.
The Lou Brown erasure by all of you guys is just hurting my heart here, okay? Lou Brown won in Cleveland, okay? And he won in Cleveland with a ragtag bunch of nobodies, all right? So not only is Bill Belichick the only winning coach in Cleveland, Lou Brown,
the guys should have been dead.
Bernie Kosar took the Browns to the AFC Championship game a couple times as well.
That was Schottenheimer, right? Wasn't that Schottenheimer coaching those teams?
Yeah, and in 1990, Belichick gave the 3 best game plans to win in the playoffs ever. I'll say, Chris, Buddy Ryan had Reggie White. Yeah, he didn't win any championships. I mean, you look at the Bears.
He wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer either.
Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor are pretty damn close. I mean, Reggie White's pretty damn good.
But the coach wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's only been 3 coaches that were first ballot Hall of Famers.
How about this? Belichick took a second-year quarterback midway through the season to win a Super Bowl, something that Don Shula, a first ballot Hall of Famer, could not do in 1984. So, they made also. There needs to be better communication with this, with the voting system. I mean, if they want to be petty about it, they made Tom Flores wait till he was in a wheelchair for him to get in. Meanwhile, Dungy and
Mongo McMichael
were already in. Yeah, Flores won 2 Super Bowls as a head coach. He won another as an assistant. He won another as a backup quarterback. Wait till next year. That thought process. There might not be a next year for a 73-year-old. I mean, I hate to say that, but the whole thing is just terrible. It shines a negative light on the Hall of Fame, and they don't like that. And so they've done a lot of backtracking this week. They like the prestige of it. They want to talk about it, but I feel bad for Drew Brees because he's going to get in and all they're going to talk about is how Belichick's not in. And so I feel bad for all the guys that are going in this year.
I have a joke right now that I could do about Drew Brees, and I'm absolutely not going to do it. All right. I'm not going to do it. There's a joke that I could do about Drew Brees and people in the Hall of Fame, and I'm not going to do it. All right. I'm not going to do it. We're going to move on. We're going to say goodbye to our good friend Josh Williams, our football handicapper. He does not like to stick around on the show and talk basketball with Jimmy and Chris and I. So Josh, do you have any parting words for the people before we talk to you again next week?
Yeah. So how good was this guy? There was a bettor back in August that walked into the Circa Casino. He put $50,000 on Seattle to make the playoffs. He put $50,000 on Seattle to win the division. He put $50,000 on Seattle to win the conference. And he now has $50,000 on Seattle to win the Super Bowl at 70-1. He can do a massive hedge because he's getting 5 points with the Patriots. How in the world did that guy call that? That's unbelievable. Props to whoever did that, whoever put that much money down. He had supreme confidence in Mike McDonald.
See, that's the gambling world that absolutely amazes me, to have the stones to be able to walk in and say, yep, this 50 large right here, I could just watch it go up in smoke and it doesn't bother me in the least. I cannot ever fathom getting there. But that's why we have somebody like Josh Williams to give us advice. So if you do decide to make a decision like that, you can go into it a little bit more informed. We're not telling you that you have to make these plays because you can't come back and blame it on us. We're just hoping that you become a little bit more informed. And to get a little bit more informed about basketball, I'm going to turn the hosting duties over to Jimmy Jamrisk. He's got some questions on the NBA Fast Break.
Yes, it's the fast break time. It's about the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. I've got a true or false couple questions for you, gentlemen. Chris King, true or false? Giannis will be in a new uniform this time next week.
True. Oh, shoot, next week? Yeah, I'm still saying true. I'm still saying true.
Okay, so we all know that Giannis he didn't request a trade, Rod. He said it's time for him to move on. And it's best for everyone because I want people to still like me. It's time to move on to a different area, and please do that by sending me to another team by getting other things. But he did not, Rod, request a trade. Do you think Giannis will be in a new uniform next week?
No, I think he'll still be a Buck next week. I do. And I'm hoping that cooler heads prevail because I couldn't help but I'm sick of this, Jimmy. I'm sick of this. I've lived through it too many times now. I lived through the melodrama where Carmelo for months had to get out of Denver and go to New York. I lived through the Dwight Mare where Dwight Howard was putting his arm around Stan Van Gundy, who was drinking Diet Cokes and talking about how they loved each other. And Dwight was going to leave, and then he was eating candy on the bus, and he signed the extension that brought him back for one more year, right? I lived through all of that nightmare. And then we had all of these things, and players requested trades, and Damian Lillard, did he or did he not want to go to Miami? Was he told that he was going to go to Miami? I'm so hurt for the Milwaukee Bucks fans because no matter how this ends, Jimmy, it's not going to end well. It's going to end with Giannis going out the door. It's going to end with the Bucks getting about 70 cents on the dollar if they're lucky, okay? And the majority of that 70 cents on the dollar that they're getting back anyway is just a scratch off lottery ticket because it's literally going to hopefully be lottery tickets or a lottery picks where they just pick somebody that they're not sure is ever going to become half of what Giannis was. He won the first championship for that franchise in 50 years. He's been the only reason anybody cared about Milwaukee Bucks basketball for a decade now. And he's just going to be up out of town because they can't win and they're going to get nothing for him. And it's just everything about it is sad. And I get so Rod Damnation like when this sets in because all of these podcasts go boom, emergency mode, and everybody just starts trading the guy and nobody talks about what it actually means to the league that this happens all the time and that a small market team like Milwaukee absolutely gets gutted. And we're not going to hear from them now for another decade. They're going to be out in the wilderness.
We have to do something about this situation. The momentum is dying.
I don't understand no more distractions.
But I do believe we should all follow one path in life.
Hubris and ego and pride. Sorry, all that was a complete lie. I said all I need to say about Giannis, but it led me right into my Rod Damnation, which has to do with these podcasts that I mentioned during my take about Giannis there. One in particular being a podcast that I promise you, I like this podcast. I like all three people involved with this podcast, but one particular person has just absolutely driven me too far over the past couple of weeks. Tim Bontemps, I'm sorry, my guy. You are part of Rod Damnation this week. It is the Hoop Collective with Brian Windhorst, my guy. Okay. Brian Windhorst is the host of the podcast. People aren't tuning in to hear you step over and cut off Brian Windhorst to continually make the same point. It doesn't become smarter, Tim, just because it comes out of your mouth. Okay, stop talking all the time. I know I talk an awful lot, but I believe, because I tell Jimmy this all the time, that if I start getting to the point where I cut off people and I make everybody only say the things that I said because it sounds smarter coming out of my mouth, to let me know. Tim Bontemps, I'm not saying I'm anti you. I'm not saying I'll never listen to the podcast again, but you get Rod Nation, my man. You've got to stop cutting off the host of the podcast.
I love that, Rod. I think of you every time he interrupts, especially this last podcast when Brian even said, "Shocking, you're interrupting me when I'm trying to make a point." That was great. I do love that podcast. It's one of my favorites, and he does interrupt quite a lot. We get it. We understand what you're saying, but he'll also interrupt and say something that basically is the same thing he's interrupting about. He just, like, another word is put in there or whatnot. And there's no subtlety there at all. I do think it has a lot to do too. If you're a writer, you get to go and you get to write and you get to edit and you get to figure it out. And then you get to put out your best at the very end. And, in wrestling, we're going to talk about Dave Meltzer does the same thing. He'll talk about something when he doesn't have that editor, and he interrupts people because he has a thought in his mind. He's got to put it down on a piece of paper. This time he's just putting it out into the world. Hey, Chris, a podcast is something that you use. So a phone has changed over the years, Chris. But
it reminds me of the I can't remember. Maybe it was Pootie Tang, where you had the two guys and he's like, "Man, it is really hot out." And the other guy walks up, he's like, "Yeah, it's hot out too."
That is definitely Pootie Tang.
It is. I think Giannis will be on a different team next week. I think it's going to be one of two teams. I think it's going to be the Timberwolves or the Warriors. Nice. I really want it to be the Timberwolves, because if he does the Warriors thing, I think it's going to be a little too close to what KD did. And you say, "Oh, you're going to try to go to a juggernaut," even though they're not a juggernaut anymore. I think that'll still be what's going to be said about it. If he goes to the Timberwolves, they haven't won and they haven't been relevant forever. Now, they've been in the conference championship the past couple of years, which is great. But if he goes there and he and Ant together can bring a championship to another city that has not won one, that would be really good for Giannis. So I think Giannis going to the Timberwolves would be the way to go there. So let's go a little bit more north. And you know what? Let's give Minnesota a little happiness. Why not, Rod?
Certainly. Minnesota could absolutely use a pick-me-up right about now. This is not the podcast for any further discussion on that, but everyone knows what I mean. Here's my only question, Jim, and certainly we are not GMs, and I don't want to get bogged down in the minutia here, but what's the framework of the Timberwolves Bucks deal? Like, what is Minnesota giving up that's getting them Giannis?
It's going to have
to be. They gave up quite
a
a few of their draft picks when they got Rudy Gobert.
There's going to have to be a third team involved for sure in that, whether it's the Nets. The Pacers need some centers. There's a little Nas Reed situation that maybe the Pacers could go look at. They could look at a Rudy Gobert. I would not like that as a Pacers fan, but I think there's a third team that we can get involved in there to get those picks to Milwaukee and to get some younger talent, a Benedict Mathurin, for example, or someone like that, to go to Milwaukee to, give them a little bit there. So I that's where I think that's going. Chris, do you have any idea where you think he's going to go?
I can tell you where I want him to go. I want him to come to Indiana, right?
Do you know how many people? Okay, do you want Siakam to be in the trade?
I mean, you asked me what I thought and what I wanted, right? I have not the know the ins and outs of NBA contract and matching up salaries to make these things happen. I know it is a long shot, and we'd be giving up almost everybody who's healthy.
Like Chris, legitimately, it would be like 9 players because he makes so much money, and the Pacers they've done a really good job with their cap, but they have Halliburton and they have Siakam that are high money, but everyone else, I think Nembhard makes $11 million, which is the next one, something like that. I could be a little off, but it would have to be really like 6 or 7 guys plus 6 or 7 draft picks. So then you have
sell out that
Siakam
every
and
night.
Giannis. And then you and I and Rod, the 5 of us. Let's go.
Hey, I can spot up in the corner.
I would love that.
In the other corner.
Chris King, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to worry about him for an objective opinion. He will always just come to you as the fan.
I love that. Speaking of fans, hey, Cleveland. Look at Cleveland. 5 wins in a row. That means the Cavs are back, Chris, and they will be buyers. They're going to bring someone in to help them continue this good fortune now that Evan Mobley's out. Chris doesn't even know.
Listen, I think Cleveland's still a dangerous team. I think in the East, especially, anything's possible if you're in that top 5-6 range. I think Detroit's still in charge. What I'd be more concerned about if I was Cleveland is if Detroit gets Michael Porter Jr. somehow and becomes even stronger.
And then, Rod, let's go to you for this one. OKC should be buyers at the trade deadline to make sure they can defend their title because it's not set in stone anymore that they are the best team in the West.
It's definitely not set in stone anymore that they're the best team in the West. I would say if I'm OKC, you clearly have some sort of long-term plan about how to make these 3 salaries fit together. You have all these draft picks to replace guys like Dort and Caruso and Hartenstein when they age out. So I think you got to just ride this out and hope that your guy Jalen Williams, who was almost MVP of the finals last year and a 3rd-team All-NBA guy, gets over whatever kind of hand/shoulder injury stuff that's making him be terrible from the outside. I think that the improvement the Thunder will make is guys like Hartenstein and Caruso coming back healthy and Jalen Williams improving a little bit. I don't think they're going to make a move. Presti only traded for Gordon Hayward a couple of years ago, and they hadn't even won a title yet. Like, he's just not a guy that's going to make a big move, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. That's where I was going. I think Jalen Williams is their big move. He's still kind of rounding out in form. He'll be back. You want that cohesion there. Chris, you're all about cohesion and wanting to win. Do you think they need to make a move?
If it's the right move, right? Like, I think, but yes, buy. I'm always going to be for a team that's attempting to make more of an impact and get further into the playoffs, right? I hate tanking. So
correct.
It's almost always going to be like, yes, improve your team at the deadline for this year. That's what it's there for.
All right, and our last little quick deadline questions here. I just need a quick yes or no. We're going to start with Rod, then go to Chris. Will Ja Morant be traded? Yes or no, Rod?
No.
Chris?
No.
I don't think so either. I think they're going to wait to the offseason. Anthony Davis, Rod?
No.
Chris?
Yes, for shits and giggles.
Okay. I don't know why anyone would trade for Anthony Davis right now, or honestly ever, to tell you the truth. Jonathan Kuminga, Rod?
I got to say no on that one. If somebody wanted Jonathan Kuminga, it's basically been a fire sale from Amazon for like a year and a half, and nobody's tried to jump on that. So I got to say no.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with them because they could have had him already. So no.
Obviously, he'll have to be a part of that Giannis trade if the Warriors get Giannis. So I'm going to say no, though. I don't think he's going to be traded either. Michael Porter Jr., who is the belle of the ball. Everyone wants him, mostly because, ironically enough, he is the only person that can be traded right now that is not injured. Weird. I think he's going to be traded. Rod, do you think he's going to be traded?
I think that every potential NBA owner and general manager should look up Michael Porter Jr.'s podcast appearances before this NBA season kicked off and steer clear of Mr. Porter Jr. All right. I'm going to say no.
And finally, Chris, Michael Porter
Yes.
Jr. Okay,
yes.
He's going to be traded. And finally, the Knicks, they're back on a little bit of a run. There was a little danger there for 2 weeks. Maybe we'll hear about the Knicks later. Karl Anthony Towns, Rod, is he going to be a Knick or not?
Yes, he will be a Knick because the Knicks will not trade for anybody. Did you notice that I said no for every trade scenario, Jim?
Yeah, I did. So you don't think it's going to be a very big trade deadline, huh? You think we've already seen the big one?
I'm going to call my shot now, okay? Two players will be traded at the deadline, and they will be traded from the same exact team. Congratulations to Jose Alvarado and Sadiq Bey for getting off of a sinking ship in New Orleans, because these are two guys that make no money, and they're about the only dudes that could help out a contender-type team as a 7th, 8th guy off the bench and get some playoff minutes, and it's actually easy to trade with them with the insane rule structure the NBA has created with these aprons.
Rod, for extra points, who are they going to be traded to?
I think that Alvarado is going to end up in Minnesota because Minnesota
Oh.
needs a little bit of ball handling help. He helps with defense, which is something else that Minnesota really, really likes an awful lot. And I think Sadiq Bey is a really sneaky, underrated dude. I think that guy could fit.
He's
on
really
any
good.
team. I mean, he's decent enough at defense. He rebounds a little bit. He can spot up and hit threes from the corner. Like anybody that gets Sadiq Bey should be happy.
Well,
Watch
and
him
this
go to
is this
Oklahoma City.
is this year one of him being back from the injury?
It is. Yeah, that's kind of how
Okay.
he got down to New Orleans in the first
Yeah,
place. 'Cause
remember
he was on Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Brooklyn took him as basically a space filler contract. He never really played for him. Then New Orleans got him on an even cheaper contract, right? And so then that's why he's down there in New Orleans.
Remember, year one is the warm up year. Year two, then, so someone could get a steal on him. Chris, you think Cat's going to be traded?
No.
No. So wow, not really much action here. But you know what? We do have action in the Kings Hardwood Hierarchy.
For the win.
All right, Chris, welcome back this week. We've got a king, queen, prince, and jester. Can't wait to see what rules you make up this week for. Who's your king, Chris?
Okay, I know you guys said that it wasn't necessarily true that they are guaranteed to be the best team in the NBA, but they still have the number one offensive rating, the number one defensive rating, and the best record in the NBA. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder. Followed very, very closely now by the Detroit Pistons. Detroit's only a game behind them for the best record in the NBA. That's been a quiet ascension as far as I'm concerned.
Detroit is 7 games clear of the number 2 team in the East. Like that's a sneaky thing that nobody talks about either. Like Detroit's basically locked up the number 1 seed already.
Unbelievable.
Crazy. But to bring up that team that is trailing them in the East is the Knicks, who have turned it around recently. They've won 5 in a row or 4 in a row. So, yeah, give it up to New York. That's why they're not going to get rid of Cat. That's why they're going to be a buyer, if anything. So, New York, you get the Prince.
And who is our very, very bad team right
Oh,
now? There's a lot to pick
Sacramento.
from. Okay.
Sacramento's just been awful lately.
Have you guys seen the numbers that Russ Westbrook has put up? Have you guys seen the numbers that he's actually put up? Like Russ is sneaky had like a pretty good Russ season, but the problem is why? Why do the Kings want Russ doing Russ things? Like what are we doing?
Well, especially they're 12-37. That's not helping at all.
Yeah.
You know the King. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying, if you're Russ, why do you want to do this? You know, I mean, I know that it's been a bit of a motley crew for the last 5 to 6 years of his career, but like at one point, this guy was respected. This guy won MVP of the friggin' league one year. You know what I mean? Like this guy was a multi-time all-star, all-NBA player. And now he's just like playing out the string with the Kings, getting minutes over Malik Monk. Like, what are we doing?
He likes to play.
Somehow, before the trade deadline is over, the Sacramento Kings are going to end up with Ja Morant, Anthony Davis, and Jonathan Kuminga. I don't know how, but it will happen, and it will be glorious. And that has been the fast break. We're going to transition right now into WWE wrestling because, yeah, we know it's time to talk wrestling, and we have a huge, huge news section today with our boy, Ciampa, Tommaso Ciampa, Rod, debuted on AEW on Wednesday night as the Psycho Killer, which let me talk about that real quick before you comment. Tommaso, I love you. I do. I think you're a great wrestler. I want to support you. I am not buying a t-shirt that says Psycho Killer on it. I'm sorry, not going to do it. Psycho Killer, much better, but better than Psycho Killer. Rod, Tommaso Ciampa on AEW.
I absolutely loved a comment that I saw up on Twitter when that video was posted that said, "Oh my God, Triple H is all elite," and I just thought that was an absolute fabulous
that is
callback
funny
to our truth there. I love Ciampa too, Jimmy. I do, and like I love Adam Copeland and I love MJF, and like there's a lot of guys working over there in AEW that like I have respect. Like, you know, I love Andrade. I called him the most underrated WWE wrestler out there. I know he's over in All Elite, but like, just like at what point does it stop making you look like a lesser run franchise that like every time a dude, the WWE says, we don't want this guy anymore, AEW's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to glitz it up and make this guy seem like $1 million because we're happy to have him. And like, to me, it just makes AEW look second rate that they just like open their arms to every single dude that the WWE kicks out. But I'm happy that guys continue to have jobs, Jimmy.
Exactly. I think that works well. Any thoughts on Tommaso Ciampa, Chris?
Great wrestler. I'll never see him again because I don't watch the Janitor League.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Speaking of people who work very hard, Chris, you were not able to watch Saturday night's main event, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, good. So we don't need to talk to you about this. Rod, I have a bone to pick with WWE here. Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes had a really good brawl. I was looking forward to the match, but no, we have to have Drew McIntyre come in and run it again. If you don't want them to have a match, don't book the match. It's not real, Rod. Yeah, we know.
I was really disappointed in that too, Jimmy. You called the schmaz exactly. I didn't see McIntyre coming. You saw it coming. The only problem is you thought it was going to be schmaz at the end of a match after we heard a bell ring and we saw them wrestle for a little while in something that we thought was going to be a real match. They never even got there in this match. You got to love Corey Graves and for continuing to sell it. Be like, I haven't even heard a bell. Or is it Wade Barrett? I don't even remember who it was.
Yeah, I think
I
it was
haven't even
Barrett,
heard a bell. So then, good shout out to the commentating team for selling that. But disappointing, man. Like, I get it. We're trying to build up Fatu. He seems like a big deal because he's dueling with Cody, but then you can't have him lose and you can't have Cody lose either. And it's what we talk about all the time, Jimmy. Like, just have Fatu fight Cody and have Fatu beat him. It's fine. Nobody that loves Cody Rhodes is going to stop loving Cody Rhodes because he lost to Jacob Fatu. Like, it's just not going to happen.
No, and I think Fatu's probably going to throw him out at the Rumble. Don't you think that would be a nice way, Chris, to continue that feud?
Yeah, I think so. They're both going to be there, right? So why not? Why not? Why not have that happen?
We also know that Brock Lesnar is going to be in the Royal Rumble randomly. He FaceTimed into Pat McAfee's show, and Pat's like, "We're on the air, buddy." I wonder if he was actually calling to say, "Hey, what time are we meeting on the private jet tomorrow?" But that's a whole nother thing. I have to apologize, Rod, to Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and Roxanne Perez, because I wasn't mad. I was just really kind of frustrated with that opening match. I didn't really pay much attention to the tag team match. Sky and Ripley won, though, right?
Yeah, it was not worth paying any attention to. I continue to be like, I don't know what we're doing with Io Sky, because at the end of the match, Rhea basically does a DX salute, right? And Io Sky's reaction to Rhea's DX salute is, oh my God, how could you do something so vile and terrible? Like, what wrestling company is Io Sky working in, Jimmy? I don't understand what we're doing to Io Sky. She can't deal with the DX chop. She's getting beat down by Kyrie and Asuka. She's Rhea's little sister. I don't understand what we did with who they created after WrestleMania and who they just birthed for us at the Saturday night's main event.
Io Sky is in her own world, Rod, and that's just fine with me. Okay. We had another match of the year candidate, I think. Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles. They did their bullet, and Nakamura catches the bullet and eats it. They didn't shoot that very well, probably because they didn't want the bullet. Maybe not the best timing for that. But they had a really good match. It was, I think, like 15 or so minutes, back and forth. AJ gets the win. Nakamura wrestled hard. We'll talk about it during the Rumble, but this match made me feel great, but also, Rod, made me feel a little nervous.
Yeah, I had a similar thought, and I love seeing Shinsuke bring it. I've said that about him numerous times. When he is fired up and ready and wants to put on a show for the people, there's nobody better, because the strong style mixed with the strikes that AJ Styles could do, like seeing a match like that, it brought warmth to my heart, because I had literally just been complaining about too many matches with Mr. Bouncy, Javon Evans, or too many matches with Maxine, where like all of these spots are like, oh, I got to get over here to this side of the ring and I got to bend over here, or, oh, I got to be going over here to grab the ring because we're about to, you know what I mean? Like, you're just way too much of, I got to move to where my spots are. And you don't get that feel when AJ and Shinsuke are battling each other. You get that feel where you're like, oh my God, I think he really did just chop him in half. You know what I mean? Like, and it's great to see that. And you don't see people selling enough anymore. And those guys both sold the hell out of each other.
And I think that it's because they say, hey, Shinsuke, Styles is going over, make it go 15 minutes, go. Instead of you're doing this first, then this, then this, and this, and then this. Okay. And then we had Orton, Zayn, Priest, and Williams. And your boy, my boy, our boy, Sami Zayn is getting the world title shot at the Royal Rumble in Riyadh. Chris, excited for Sami? Or would you have rather had Priest, Trick Williams, or Randy Orton?
I wanted Randy Orton. I liked the RKO out of nowhere. I really had a big smile when I saw the highlight of him giving it to Sami the other night. All right, so yeah, that's who I wanted. I know Sami's going to lose, so whatever. That's not going to go anywhere.
You know, Rod,
Not so fast, my friend.
it wouldn't be the worst thing ever to have Sami Zayn win the championship in Saudi Arabia, would it?
I completely agree. I could see a world where Sami wins this belt. I really could, because I don't know that the WWE wants Drew McIntyre as a WrestleMania main eventer. I just don't know if they do. They probably should, because I think he's proven himself. But if you look at the track record, he usually tends to get forgotten about when it comes to the big show. And if Brock Lesnar is already showing back up for the Rumble, and if Roman Reigns is coming back for the Rumble, I think that just means that Drew gets further down the card.
I think it would be great if, I don't know, Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes came out and cost Drew McIntyre the championship, because guess what? We're going to do it. Why not? Sami Zayn wins, and then Kevin Owens wins the Royal Rumble, and he and Sami Zayn have their world title match at WrestleMania. Done. Next question. Anyway.
I forgot about KO.
I don't think he can be back, but it would be.
What about Seth?
I don't think so either, but you never know. You really don't.
My guy can't be trusted. That's already been proven.
No, he can't. So that was Saturday night's main event. Overall, you had a really good match with Nakamura and Styles. It was kind of that same Saturday night's main event it's been. Nothing major happened. We did have Stephanie McMahon hosting. She did a really good job with that, but other than that, everything was fine. We're going to move to Raw real quick, because I know Chris was able to watch Raw. And again, Chris, thank you seriously for everything you do in the greater Bloomington area. I hear IU is having its students shovel themselves out, so that's a big thing on campus right now. But other than that, we had AJ Styles and CM Punk start the show off. How excited were you to see CM Punk and AJ Styles wrestle that evening?
I was pumped.
Oh.
I saw some highlights of. Listen, I'm a fan of the Phenomenal One. All right, and I am not a fan of Phil. So yeah, let me watch that match. I know it's going to be a good match.
Yeah,
Phil has nothing to do with that, Chris. It's only AJ Styles that makes it a good match. Phil has nothing to do with that.
It all depends on if Phil goes to sleep himself.
I think we have to give CM Punk a little credit here. I mean, this was a good match. It wasn't up with the Balor match from last week, but it was a good match, and I was enjoying it. And I hated the ending with a passion of all passions, but I thought it was a fairly good match overall, Rod.
I continue to be impressed with CM Punk, right? Like I was a little bit worried about how he'd wear the belt, how it would go if he could show a little bit of humility. And he's actually showing a little bit of humility while still sort of being CM Punk and just wrestling bangers. Like, I have zero reason to complain about CM Punk other than just being a cantankerous old bastard like somebody else on this podcast.
I will say he and AJ Lee did one of those hot ones, question your spouse or whatever. If you haven't seen it, it's terrific, especially when they asked AJ Lee to do her Mount Rushmore of women's wrestlers, and she started talking. Lita, Beth Phoenix, you've dated a lot of these people. Is that awkward? I thought that was terrific, that they just have that kind of back and forth relationship. Chris, I know you've been a little light on the show just because you've been so busy, but anything else on Raw that you wanted to hit on before we talk a little bit about SmackDown and then go to the Royal Rumble?
I will say this about the Phil and AJ fight. I knew once they said that there was going to be, the belt was going to be up for it, that there was going to be some sort of schmoz ending, because they're not going to have AJ lose before the Gunther fight, and they're not going to have Punk lose the title. So I did expect something to happen there. I don't know if I expected Finn Balor to come out, but I expected something.
Well, they kind of foreshadowed that a little bit from last week and then this week as well. And I think the only way I can like this is if Finn Balor and CM Punk wrestle at the Royal Rumble, because I think they're one match shy right now. They usually go 5 matches. I know there's 2 Royal Rumbles, so they might only go 4, but I'd like to see that rematch, Rod.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind seeing the Demon or Finn Balor or the Prince, whatever he's deciding to go by at this particular moment, wrestle, because the guy can absolutely flat get after it. But I got to know what the story is, right? Like, if Finn is going to fight CM Punk in a desperate effort to like still keep the Judgment Day together because he like is listening to Liv, like I have zero interest in that, right? But if Finn like breaks out of the Judgment Day, you know what I mean? And like he comes out and he's, getting cheers from the crowd and like, scorns them, then like I'm all in. But I don't want Finn to continue being in the Judgment Day and have this story continue. I want this story to spurn Finn out of the Judgment Day.
Finn is better as a face for sure, as we've seen. So it would be really nice to see that. Rod, real quick on SmackDown, because we need to get to the Rumble here. But Carmelo and Ilya Dragunov. Hey, we need a good match. Go wrestle. Yeah. Unbelievable as always.
My guy, the Pain will entertain you. I absolutely love seeing him out there. I love seeing my guy Kit Wilson. It's amazing. Yep. It's amazing what a great theme will do for you, Jimmy, right? A lot of people say that Joe Henry, and those people are wrong when they say Joe Henry's only popular because of his theme. But Kit Wilson's theme's helping him out. And I enjoy some of the new blood we're seeing on SmackDown. I do. I questioned how much of it was being infused into the blue roster, but I like a lot of what we're seeing. I hope that they can grow and figure out a way to have good matches, but I like a lot of the characters that they have brought to me on SmackDown recently.
I want to say something. All right. I know I didn't get to watch a lot the past week, but
sure,
there is somebody that I have not seen for a minute, and I'm getting a little bit upset. Where is our boy, LA Knight?
In storyline, he's hurt. Remember, he got tsunami'd on top of a car, died, dead, gone. Yeah, in storyline, he's hurt. I'm assuming he'll be back at the Rumble.
And also, our guy deserves some time off, Chris. Remember when we did the We Know
wrestled more than anybody else?
Yeah, he literally didn't miss a SmackDown last year, so give our guy a break, all right?
I just Bontemps do. Sorry, Rod.
I'm just a fan, all right? I want to see my boy. That's all I'm saying.
Again, people, if you're just tuning in for the first time, Chris will continue to prove to you that he is just a fan. He's not trying to be any kind of an analyst here.
Never watched wrestling before tonight, actually. Just a fan.
Just a
friend.
Fan.
I'm a noob, all right?
Let's go Rumble time, Jimmy.
And then finally, MFT, new tag team champ. Yeah. Well, MFT beat the Wyatts, just for the record, so we have that as well. New tag team champs. Excited for our MFT boys.
Solo's better with the belt on him.
The Royal Rumble match, we have Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn for the World Championship. Rod, who you got?
Sammy.
I'm going Sammy too. Chris.
Drew.
Shocking. Gunther versus AJ Styles for the champion, or for the career, of AJ Styles. Chris, I want you to go first because I still don't know.
AJ,
you think
he's not going. We know this is his last year. It's not going to end in February. I guess it won't be February yet, but it won't be ending in the first month of this year.
It's basically February. Yeah, you're fine. So
AJ,
it's one of those things where he can't lose. He's going to go all year. Well, then let's trick him. Let's have him lose.
Jimmy, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What are the Good Brothers up to right now, contractually? Do you have any idea?
They might be. I don't know, but that's a really good idea if they can. Because
here's my thought, right? AJ wrestles a great match, right? Like he's putting it all out there on the floor. It's great. Gunther's about to beat him. All of a sudden, the Good Brothers rush out of the crowd and just schmaz the match, right? And like AJ's mad at him, you know what I mean? And they basically just like give him a, hey man, we couldn't let it end here. Like something like that. Like there's got to be a schmaz, because I'm with you. No chance AJ is done for this year. No chance. And I don't want to see some sort of other shamockery again. Yeah, we know it's all not real, but I don't want to see some other shamockery of him losing and then he still comes back a couple of weeks from now on some, technicality. Like, no, So it's going to be a schmaz, and why not have it be the Good Brothers?
Yeah, I can't find anything because it's funny. They signed a 5-year contract in 2022 that was supposed to take them to 2027, but they famously just got released from that a couple years ago. So I'm not sure. That's a really good call. Yeah, I don't think they can have AJ leave right now. That would just be. I think people would actually be really pissed about that, and it would kind of take down either the women's or men's Royal Rumble, whichever follows that. Because I'm assuming that'll be right before the main event.
That would make sense to me because, I mean, and again, the men's Rumble will be at the end. It just always is.
So we have the women's and men's Royal Rumble and 2 Rumbles that have not at all been hyped, really, until this past week. In fact, Andrade has a better odds on a betting site than The Miz to win the Rumble still. So that's interesting. But in the women's Rumble, we have Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Bayley, Lyra Valkyria, Asuka, Chelsea Green, Jordan Gray, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, and Julia, plus another 15 after that. This is tough for me. I think it's going to be Liv Morgan. I think Liv's going to win it, but I'm not sure. I'm going to pick Liv.
Who's Liv
Chris?
throw out? Who's Liv throw out, Jimmy?
Oh, Liv's going to throw out Roxanne Perez. There's no question about it.
Oh, okay. I like that.
You know what? But
Roxanne gets the long run, right? Like maybe she comes in at like 3 or 4, something like that.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think she's going to throw out last though, because you have to then. Maybe she gets thrown out third. Maybe it's like Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and Roxanne Perez. And Roxanne is trying to throw Rhea over, but then Liv throws her over, or maybe both at the same time. Who knows? But I've got Liv winning that. Rod, who you have?
I like that you got Rhea there because I think Rhea is definitely going to be involved. Rhea will be one of the final 4 people. I like your idea of Roxanne and Liv being involved. And I like the 4th being I'm on my own against the wall. The EST, baby.
So.
Get Bianca back hitting, get that music, get everybody fired up, get Bianca swinging the braid, coming down into the ring and just wiping people out, right? Like I envision a scenario where there's like 8 people in the ring and Bianca throws 4 people out in like 15 seconds, just looking like $1 million damn dollars, bouncing off the ropes, lifting people up overhead, chiseled out of stone. Bring me the EST, Jimmy.
I love that. And before we get to Chris, I think this is going to be one of the deepest Royal Rumbles we've ever had for women. I think this is going to be a terrific show for the women. So hopefully they live up to it. Chris, who you have?
I was going to pick Bianca Belair as well, but since Rod beat me to it, I am going to go to one of my next favorite. You already mentioned her name. I think it's great. Anytime she gets on TV, that'd be Chelsea Green.
Hell yeah, let's go. I don't know that Chelsea Green's going to be vaulted to the main event scene, but I friggin' love it, Chris.
See, here's the thing with that. I think they already blew it by saying Chelsea Green comes in at number 30 and the number 29 and 28 threw themselves over, so she wins automatically. Because that's how you get Chelsea Green to win, for sure. Yep. Or maybe Chelsea just says, screw it, I'm going to come out in my gimmick from TNA where she was the bride and all messed up makeup, and she just says, I've had it with the stuff. I'm going to beat everybody, and she wins. I would love to see Chelsea Green win. You're not going to have bigger fans of any podcast. Well, maybe Cardona's podcast, but yeah, we love some Chelsea Green there. And then finally, we have the men's Royal Rumble match, which I think we only have 10 people right now that have said they're in, but it's full, Rod. It's full. Finn Balor cannot be in the Royal Rumble, which means the Demon will be in the Royal Rumble.
That's a good call. Finn can't be in the Royal Rumble, but Brock Lesnar can just
yes, Brock Lesnar can be
show and put himself in.
We have Brock Lesnar, Obafemi, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Gunther, maybe Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, Dragon Lee, Penta, and a lot more. Chris, who you have?
Well, Vegas money has got to be on Braun Breaker, right?
Could be.
But I think I'm going to go with if LA Knight's not in the Rumble, I think this other guy is. I think Dom somehow gets a Royal Rumble win.
Wow. Dom.
Well, shout out to our number 1 fan, Dom Mysterio Glazer. He loves your answer.
Yeah. Big fan there. I am going to go not with Braun Breaker. I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go with Logan Paul. I think Logan Paul is going to win the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
It might be a little early for that. I don't know. I don't want it to
hate
be
it.
Roman Reigns. I don't want it to be Roman Reigns. I'm not going to pick Roman Reigns. But Logan Paul on the McAfee show today was weird. I don't know what's going on. He did say he was sober,
Shirtless?
though.
Shirtless?
He was being a little weird, but he did say he was sober. I think it would be an interesting twist because we all think that Braun Breaker is going to be the next person to ascend that. Well, let's give it to Logan Paul. It's in Vegas. TKO is in charge. Huge internet celebrity, full-time wrestler. Logan Paul wins the Rumble. Rod.
Well, I guess I should go ahead and apologize right now for my pick based on what you just said during your pick there, Jimmy. But I'm going to pick the big dog in the yard. All right. I'm going to pick the tribal chief. I'm going to pick the man who basically got his own video package saying that he's declaring for the Royal Rumble. Nobody else got a video package saying they were declaring for the Royal Rumble, but Roman Reigns did. And I like Roman Reigns versus CM Punk as the main event, night 2 at WrestleMania. That's huge box office to me.
It's something different, too, because we have not seen that match before. And I think the fans will be able to, they'll be okay with that. But it is face versus face right now. So that's interesting. Or does CM Punk go heel?
Why about Roman Reigns go heel again? Roman can go heel.
He could. Chris, what do you think about Roman Reigns winning? Okay, that's what we thought.
That right doesn't drive me, right? I become a de facto Reigns fan if he decides to go for CM Punk's title, but that's not also guaranteed. Maybe he goes after Drew. They've had beef in the past.
Here's what I will say. If Roman friggin' wins and somehow fights Cody, I will apologize to everyone for ever picking Roman to win the Rumble because I do not want to see Cody Roman 3 yet.
We don't need that.
Maybe a couple years from now when one of them is about ready to walk away, they say they got unfinished business, but we don't need it now.
We don't need it. What we do need is to end the show. That has been the Morganino Podcast on the Morganino Podcasting Network. We'll figure that out in a little bit. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Chris, take us home.
Goodbye, Internet.
Yes, like, comment, subscribe. It helps us.
Yeah, so it's the Morganino Podcast on the Morganino Podcast Network. But it's the only podcast now that we have because we don't have 3 podcasts anymore. So we got to figure that out, I think.
It's just one podcast instead of 3 podcasts.
That's right.
Let's say the word podcast again.
Podcast.
Ah.